Hi, I'm Don Cohen. I'm here at Transwest in Frederick, Colorado, just north of Denver. 2 years ago, we came to Transwest and bought a new 2013 Navion, which we've since put 40,000 miles on, crisscrossing North America. Now, like any Sprinter-based motorhome owner, I've been really interested in the new 4-cylinder Mercedes chassis. And with the help of Winnebago and Transwest, they've loaned us a brand new 2015 Itasca Navion, the V model, just like ours, that we're about to take on a real-world road test. And we're going to drive it right through the heart of the Colorado Rockies. And that's a really good real-world test where we're going to see some 5 to 6% grades and be able to check performance and mileage.
Our road test is about as real-world as it gets. We didn't go out and buy white lab coats or fill the Navion cabins with monitoring equipment. We did what most motorhome owners would do, fill up the tank and drive. Well, okay, maybe we did try to add just a little science. We started by weighing each rig. Our 2013 Navion tipped the scale at 250 pounds more. And some of that was accounted for by having the propane tank filled and our aftermarket levelers. But crew-wise, that gap was narrowed by at least 100 pounds with the heavier guys versus the lighter weight girls. We topped off both tanks to the same click of the pump and headed on to the freeway. Let's look at a quick comparison to the inline-4 and V6 engines. The two things I noticed was the i4 has 27 less horsepower, but 2 more gears in the automatic transmission. In the RV world, Sprinter-based motorhomes are the real mileage champs, but to a motorhomer, pulling power is usually more important. Our test drive was all about power, though we would check mileage at the end. On the drive to Vail, there are 3 major grades. Starting from Denver at 5,280 feet, we climb up into the foothills, then ascend to the Eisenhower-Johnson tunnels, drop down into the Blue River Valley, climb up again to Vail Pass, and then descend to Vail at 8,150 feet. We don't have to wait long for the first test climbing up through the foothills. Terry's keeping her foot on the floor, but we're staying close behind. If the i4 engine couldn't keep up, it was here that I would have called it quits, turned around and declared the V6 the winner. But to everyone's relief, you might say it rises to the occasion and stays close to the V6 as we top off at the picture bridge looking at the Continental Divide.
Speed up, and he's doing great. I'm not at 4, and here I am at 55.
We're getting close to the Eisenhower Tunnel at 11,000 feet, and I'm ahead of Terry, setting a good pace at 55. By the time we enter the tunnel, we've dropped down to 50, which, conveniently enough, is now the speed limit.
All right, we're driving down from the Eisenhower Tunnel. Let's see, we're at about 10,300 feet. This is a long, about a 6% grade. And as our Navion's running ahead of us here, one of the things that I'm testing out is engine braking. So I've used the Tektronix to drop down into 4th gear. I'm revving up at around 3,700 RPM, and it's holding, you can really feel it holding the vehicle back at around 60 miles an hour, which is actually the speed limit here.
Having a couple of extra gears gives me a little better control of the engine revs and keeps us holding right around 60 with fewer taps on the brakes than I'm used to in the V6. So this is definitely a plus. And now it's the steady climb to Vail Pass at 10,600 feet. Pulling power of the i4 continues to impress us all as we head over the top of the pass and drop down into Vail. We're at the farthest point when we swing through the roundabouts in Vail and drive across Gore Creek to the golf course, which, in winter, serves as the Nordic ski area. After a quick rest stop and coffee refill, we're back on I-70 heading east, with another steep climb ahead of us.
We're just a little over the halfway mark here at the top of Vail Pass at 10,500 feet. You can see that we're getting pretty close to ski season here. And as we've been traveling up and down the mountains, we're finding a really good performance spec for the 4-cylinder engine.
The I-70 eastbound climb to the Johnson Tunnel is the longest and most relentless part of the test, with many stretches at a 7% grade. It's here that as I floor the accelerator, I asked Terry to do the same with our Navion. Slowly, but surely, she comes up alongside and passes us. we can finally see the power difference between the V6 and i4. I suspect that when you load up your coach with gear, fill the tanks, and clip a tow vehicle on, that this is where the extra power of the 6 might be appreciated. The i4 has done a great job on our high country test drive, and now it's time for one more check.
We're back in Denver. It's been almost 200 miles, and we're going to fill it up and just see what good gas mileage we got.
Mercedes estimates that the new i4 engine should get about 18% better mileage than the V6. And though the difference we found wasn't as much, there are two things to take into account. The first is that as the engine breaks in, mileage will tend to improve. And the second is that our test was for performance, where we both used a heavier foot on the pedal. So after a fun day of scenery and chats with our co-pilots, I've got a pretty good idea that the new Mercedes i4 will be an attractive option for many new buyers of the Winnebago View and Itasca Navions. For most, that'll be plenty of pulling power. But for drivers who tow a car and do a lot of traveling in mountainous terrain, the V6 will offer a little more high-end pull. Whichever engine you choose, it's a perfect pairing with the View or Navion, the #1 best-selling sprinter-based motorhomes in America.